This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Okay, let's talk about string bends, specifically using string bends in a blues solo. Now, I'm sure anybody who's got even just like a modicum of experience of using pentatonic scales will know what I would call all of the obvious string bendy type things that you can do in a typical blues solo. And the aim of this video today is to maybe show you one or two other string bending ideas that you can bring into that context, really. So tell you what, here's a solo where I'm doing some of this, and then I'll give you a little bit of an explanation about the how, the what and the why. Here it is. Okay then, using bends in a blues. Now, assuming you've got a little bit of experience playing blues, then I'm going to assume that you know the minor pentatonic scale. And the obvious bends that you can find in that shape there, like maybe this. Or this one. Or even this one. There they are. Okay, but there's more you can do, and what specifically we're going to be doing here is playing into the chords a little bit, kind of making the changes a little bit, landing on chord notes essentially. And the obvious first one I'm going to talk about is over this A7 chord, which has got a C sharp note in it. You can either look at this as playing into the actual chord, or maybe using the A major pentatonic. I've done plenty of videos in the past where we talk about mixing major and minor pentatonics, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that at the moment. But basically, in a nutshell, over a 12-bar blues with A7, D7 and E7, you can use the A minor pentatonic over the whole thing. And you can also use the major pentatonic of each individual chord. So A major pentatonic plus A minor over the A7, A minor pentatonic plus D major over the D7, and A minor pentatonic plus E major pentatonic over the E7. That's basically the nub of it, and that's going to give us access to some notes. Anyway, going for this C sharp note, this major third of the A7 chord, you know, I'm sure you've seen licks in the past where you have this kind of thing. Okay, so why not do that with a bend? Like that, and that's just a nice little semitone bend that you can do with a pull down on this finger here. You need to be careful though that you don't do like a release bend on that, because when you do this, that sounds pretty good, it works, but when you do this, it just doesn't quite work as well in a blues. Okay, just on that specific bend. The other one that you can do on the 1 chord, the A7 in this case here, is use this note here. This is the 6th, okay? And you would normally find that in the A major pentatonic. Well, what you can do is you can bend that up a semitone to the flat 7th of the A7 chord there, like that. So and that's a good one to, when you go into the D7 chord, you can just kind of release bend that, and that becomes now the major third of that chord. So you can almost begin to sense the chord change happening as you play that lick. And if you're playing in a band where you are the guitar player, there's only bass and drums behind you when you go into your solo, little tricks like this that help suggest the chord changes really do pay dividends. This note here, this 6th of the A7 chord that we've just bent up to the flat 7th of the A7 chord, that's another good one to use as well, because if you bend that up a whole tone like that, then that becomes the G sharp note, the major third of the E7 chord. So what I just did there was suggest the E7 chord by bending up to the G sharp note in that chord. Just let that note ring out as an unbent note for the D7 chord note, and then take it up to the A7 chord note like that. So just on that one little note there, you can, you know, and the different bends you can apply to it, you can get a lot of mileage out of that. Okay. Another one I like to do in this kind of area down here is when it goes from the A7 to the D7. There's the B note, which is the 9th or the 2nd of the A major pentatonic. I find it's a good kind of thing here to go into that kind of thing there, like that, where I'm just doing a first finger pull down bend to take that B note up to the C, which is in that D7 chord. So I'm thinking all the time about where there are chord notes that I can bend to from, you know, a starting point that's in one of the scales that I mentioned earlier. Another good one, another really great one, is whatever chord you're on in the blues. Let's say I'm going up to the E7. Okay. Now, the 7th note, the flat 7th of the E7 is a D. Okay, and maybe I'm going to go to this B note up here, and if I bend that up a minor third, 3 semitones like that, you can hear how, like that. And again, I'm putting that major third bend in there that we discussed. Yeah, I'm just doing it on a different string, but it's that minor third bend there that really just, it's such an evocative thing in the blues when you do a minor third, a 3-fret bend, because it immediately kind of gives it that sort of yearning, that kind of reaching that little bit further kind of feel to it, which is ideal, you know, usually for the subject matter. So any chord that you're on, see if you can, you know, locate the 5th of that chord, like that would be the E note in the A7 chord. I think in the solo I went like that, bending that E note up to a G note, which is, you know, once again, that's the flat 7th of the A7 chord, just right before it went to the D7 chord. You know, so bending the 5th up a flat and third, up a minor third, 3 semitones basically, to the 7th of the chord really does give it a beautiful bluesy sound. And, you know, that's how I tend to use bends in a blues. I'll use them to target chord notes. I'll use semitone bends, like that. I'll use whole tone bends. And I'll use 3 semitone bends, like that. And just having these extra bending licks in your vocabulary just kind of raises the game a little bit, I find. It makes your lead guitar parts sound more bluesy and more noticeable to the listener. So there's a few ideas for using bends in a blues. Now go away and have some fun with them. So there you have it. Hopefully that gave you a few ideas to go away and try out for yourself. There is, of course, a full tab for the solo in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing the solo and that little bit that you've just seen there of me explaining everything, and a backing track to play along with as well. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, and the link is, of course, in the description. And that is pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video, found it useful, informative, and maybe a little bit inspiring. And if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not give me a like while you're at it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.